about how they're castrating men, classifying it as doing nothing more than removing testicles to give them something else. Bisectomies and trisectomies. They're doing everything they can do now to replace genitals and replace sex organs that they believe that shouldn't be there. But it's not new. They were doing that during King Henry's time. They were doing it during King George's time. They have been doing that now for centuries. It's not new, people. It's not new. The story Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. It's supposedly an exclusive story about a fairy tale where this boy finally finds himself. He finds himself. The majority of his boyish would-be so-called world of growing, he was doing nothing more than playing with himself, and if not, he was playing with his would-be neighborhood boyfriend. Only to find himself going to fetch some water one day, where he finally accidentally falls down and breaks his crown. That means that he finally broke in that would-be pole that was between his leg and falling on Jill in the right time at the right spot. Say with me, I know you don't like these fairy tales because you never ever imagined that they were going to be told in the exclusive of the truth in which the intent of them were all written about. Yeah, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after him. Stay with me. Because the crown that he was wearing before that, I just told you, was a pole between his legs, and he didn't know how to truly use it or where to use it until he accidentally fallen upon Jill, fetching nothing more than a pail of water. Stay with me. These are fairy tales that come all the way from England. They made their way from the queens and the king's palace all the way to America, not by accident, but by choice. Design. Jack be limber, Jack be quick. Jack jumped over the candlestick. Jack be limber. Jack be quick. Hurry up and do it, Jack. You're limbo now, but there's going to come a point where you're going to become stiff, Jack. And it will drag over the other stick, the candlestick, and you might burn yourself. So do it while you're still limbo, Jack. Stay with me. I'm only giving you the truth. You can imagine greater than I can tell you. But you got to understand, it wasn't fairy tale. They were things that was taking place under a house of sexuality that was confused. Homosexuals, if you might. So right now, they're only finally getting their opportunity to find their place upon the world and be able to place the same would-be meaningful to them, ideal to everyone. The British world, the colonial world. Nothing more than a bunch of would-be nasty people with nasty habits, nasty ways. Their dispositions were even nasty. Stay with me, Great Britain. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about a system that was set up that the majority of you grew up under it. You grew up in it. To you, it was okay. It was nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong for you to go over to your great-grandmother's house and see her lying in bed with her best friend. Wow, they look kind of comfortable there. It looks as if, though, they slept there together all night. They did. So stop it. The fairy tales of the past for the world that you call royal has been nothing more than statements that were made based upon truth that was only to be used to cover the truth of what was really happening. Stay with me. It becomes more greater, it becomes more nastier. All because the people refuse to want to accept the truth. One would say you have to feed them slowly, softly, being kind, or they won't accept the truth. And everyone I give the truth to, I find ways to not be kind, not to be nice. They want to call it me being arrogant because they don't like the truth. And they just waiting for me to somehow come and give them some of the fairy tale lies that they grew up with. They want me to tell them about this rosy America, this pearly white America, this perfect America. But knowing America was nothing more than a place that harbored slaves. They were slave keepers. No, stop it, my dear white brother. It wasn't black slaves. They were cracker slaves, white boys like you. Those were the true slaves in America. Indigent servants, they called them. They wasn't even calling the black people black at that time. They were calling them natives. So they definitely wasn't talking about them being indigenous servants. No, they were talking about you being an indigenous servant, my dear white brother. Because you was a slave. I'm talking about your grandfathers. You didn't feel the pain. You didn't feel the pressure. You don't remember it because you wasn't there. You were still stuck inside of a line of life in which he deemed to be a peanut. Stay with me. I'll keep it clean if you listen and be quiet and sit down. So you get the truth. You could have almost not been here because your grandfather was almost not allowed to sleep with another would-be so-called person of a different sex. He was told to stay amongst his own kind. I know. I keep hearing that from your so-called would-be Baptist, Southern Baptist Center. Is that what you call it? Stay amongst your own kind and don't go out and marry amongst the others. No, they wasn't talking about you marrying a black woman. They wasn't talking about you marrying a Mexican woman. They wasn't talking about you marrying a Native American woman. They were talking about you not marrying a woman, period, you idiot. You were supposed to stay amongst your own kind. Sleep out with the rest of the boys. Take it in the rear. Take one in the rear for your butt. Be quiet. Sit down, coward. You ain't bold. You're not brave. You're screaming because you believe that you've got the whole world behind you, and you're all alone. You're by yourself. Because the world now, most of you are calling it woke. Some of you are calling it their awakened. Some of you are calling them the Illuminati. Some of you, no, there are people who have decided to focus on what is real and what is true, rather than the lies and the manipulation that you've been selling them now for 250 years of your own admittance. Please, sit down. Rest your feet before you find yourself in Donald Trump's seat. Stay with me. No, okay. Maybe I shouldn't have carried it that far. Because I told Donald, he was talking about going to D.C., and he was going to drain the swamp. I told him, I said, that swamp is really, really nasty. It's really, really deep. It's way out there, and got a lot of trees around it. The swamp. How do I know, Donald? It's because the black people used to have to go down there just to be able to have a nice church service, just to be able to speak their minds, just to be able to talk to each other, to even talk about an escape route away from them nasty crackers. They used to have to go down to the swamp. I told him, I said, you don't understand, Donald, that swamp is a dangerous place to go. But you say you're going to go and drain it. I say to you that if you don't drain it after about the first day of you being there, I said that swamp is going to come back to get you. I said they're only going to need one reason, Donald. And I can assure you, Donald, they're going to find many reasons. They're going to have so many charges. And yes, I would agree with you, Donald. There's going to be a bunch of trumped-up charges. I like that. There's going to be a lot of trumped-up charges. But I told you, listen to me, Trumpet. They only need one charge to make it stick. I told you the story about Shaka. I said you have to remember that Zenwayo told him that if you should ever try yourself to fight or tackle a lion, a tiger, you must remember that if he jumps at you to destroy you, he's going to be going for your neck. And if he misses you the first time, you need to remember if you do not destroy him, he's going to take a second swipe. And the second time, he's not going to be so careless as to miss you. The second time, it's going to be fatal. I told you, and you didn't listen to me. I told you that you were blowing the sixth trumpet, but I told you that there's going to come a time when you're going to blow the seventh trumpet. I am saying to you, it's time now. You better start blowing that seventh trumpet, because the only way you're going to get saved, the only way that you're going to be brought out of the situation you're in now, you're going to blow the seventh trumpet, because the seventh trumpet is going to summon me, and then I'll come. I'm waiting to hear the seventh trumpet, my dear brother. I haven't heard it yet. I've heard you blow the sixth trumpet. You called everybody to war. You told them that it was going to be nothing more than people fighting racial awards. But I told you that. You said the racial tension was going to go so great that it would become men against women, and it was going to be nothing more than a sexual war. Racial, sexual war, men against men will finally end, and that will be men against women, and women against men. There will be daughters against sons, fathers against mothers, daughters against mothers, sons against fathers. I told you the confusion that it was going to be. I also warned you that the end would still not be yet, because it's going to get even greater than you could ever imagine for its confusion. I told you, the book of Obadiah has already but given you the word, and everyone keeps saying to me, well, Dr. Henderson was already written. I know that, you idiot, but it has not yet been lived out. It has not yet taken place. The prophecy has not yet been done. I had to talk to someone that's on my blood just recently, a few days ago. And even as early as that today, I had to remind him that Jesus the Christ, in whom they said died on the cross, could not have died on the cross, but he's still, to this day, living on the cross. On the cross. And that cross is the cross of life. One part of the cross leads upward. The other part of the cross leads downward. And the other part of the cross leads left and right. And he has not yet been able to make a true decision on which direction it is that man needs to go in order to be able to survive this hell in which he's living in. Stay with me. You don't get it yet. You have no clue until I told you just now what Jesus the Christ and what it meant when it said he died on the cross. He died on the cross of trying to figure out which direction should he go in to save man. But at the same time, he did not down the cause because they said he still lives to this day, and he's still living on the cause. Stay with me. God Almighty, no one is going to stop this conversation and ask you for any correction whatsoever because your dollars is not worth anything. And even if they were, it would be easy for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for you or any other body who wanted that money to get into heaven. Stay with me, please. Don't leave me. Yeah. I know. I'm amusing. Fascinating, she might say. I'm not as amusing as the government of the United States of America. He's still trying to convince you that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal. They're still trying to convince you of that. 260 years of their own admission, but at the same time, they have a birth certificate that says they've been around for 500 plus years, and they still haven't been able to convince anyone in that same particular nation that we hold these truths to be self-evident, because there's no truth to it, and that they even have a creator. They haven't been able to convince anybody yet. 250 years of their own admission. 500 years of a birth certificate that lies in the archives in Germany. One known as Angela Merkel can tell them, because back during her time as prime minister, she gave America a copy of their own birth certificate. 500 plus years. And they're still trying to convince people that they have found some truth, that they could live together and work together, where all men were created equal, and they haven't been able to do that yet. And you want to talk to me about your history and the truth of it, what their fairy tales really mean? You have no clue what they really meant until I just told you. But I can assure you, your secret society of the owl eaters, those that you classify to be in the Bohemian Grove, those that you classify to be the secret society fathers of the universe, the Illuminati, they can tell you that exactly what I just said is true. They won't dismiss what I said. They're not going to call me a liar. They're not going to attack me about it either, because they know that the day that they attack me about it, the whole world will end. And darkness will come, and there will be no more light until I say so. Yeah, I know it sounds arrogant right now, don't I? That's for those women that keep sending messages saying that he sounds angry, sounds arrogant. When you can make the difference on who of what comes and goes, you'll begin to start sounding like me. But you don't have that ability. And I would tell you, don't try it. Because in your case, it will be classified as blasphemy. And my Father will come and get you quickly and carry you to a place where no man returns. No, I'm not playing games. No, I'm not a manipulator. No, I'm not a con artist. I'm not one looking to gain any money from you. I don't need your beauty. I don't need your brains. I don't need your sweetness. I don't need your sugar cane. No, I can walk all by myself. The world, they say, is the ghetto. Prostitutes are abundant. Stay with me. I didn't say you. Calm down, relax. You can at least sit down and keep your helm below your knees. You'll realize that I'm not looking anyway. Stay with me. God Almighty. Chandarakosuka. They still testing me, Father. They think I need them when they don't recognize the fact that they need me. Because without me, there will be no them. And after me, there will be no them. For I am the first. I am the last. I am the beginning, and I will be the end. And anyone wants to question that, it's okay with me. I can assure him I'm not looking for his answers anyway. I know. They've already tried that. They've sent the lone wolf by himself. He was going to sniper me. Others, he believed that it would have been more simpler for him to lie me into some VA hospital and just give me a shot, and I would go to sleep permanently and not wake up. It was tested, but I got up. Shook off death and hell. I shook it off. Not my hour yet. It's not my time. I'm not through with my mission yet. When I get through, I'll go and go to sleep. But right now, I have to rise and shine because my Father tells me I got to. I'm beyond the book of Psalms 151. I'm beyond the book of Psalms 189. Now, I know in your book it don't exist, but the book that I come out of, it has just started. Maybe he's putting on a show. Maybe it's just an act. Who knows? Maybe it's a fad. Maybe he has some type of disease that soon it'll go away. And we won't have to hear it anymore. I know what the government is saying. I read their mail every day. You don't. A lot of them. They're waiting for me to fall out of a tree. They think that I'm the son of the owl. And they know they've been eating owls now for quite some time, believing that it brings them some type of would-be knowledge that no other man can obtain. And they're wondering if I'm the owl's son and I'm coming back for revenge. But I told them, even the owls are asking me for the knowledge in which they give them. To their own blood. They know I'm not lying to them. No, it's a layman. It's the people who have never met me before that don't believe in me. It's the people who have never got an opportunity to test me before that don't believe. Those that have tested me, they don't come in my direction anymore. I can assure them. Why did I do it? Because I'm an aide. Because had I decide to terminate them, there would have been nothing on this planet anyone could have done to prevent it. Fact, nope, would be so-called. This is not a threat. It's a problem. Steel vaults cannot protect anyone on the planet. If one wants to terminate you, you're gone. Underground tunnels don't lead to nowhere where they won't be able to find you. Stay with me so you understand. There's no authority higher than the authority of death. And there's no authority lower than the authority of life. And at some point, they both have to come together where they balance themselves. Stay with me. One warring with the other. And only the righteous can seek the one in which will be glorious for him. And the unrighteous, he will be handed it even if he himself declines. God almighty, what kind of world is this, he said. Well, let's just say we're living in a world where life is a cross. Nobody knows if they should go above or below. No one knows that they want to go left or right. But behind each point, there is what they would consider to be life and death, truth or lie. Meantime, well, they're trying to carry me out of here, but I'll be back. I gotta take a short break.
Thank you, Joshua. You know, family, what he has just described is, quite honestly, an excellent description of what has come to be known as Pandora's box. They say that once you get into Pandora's box, you can never get out. But I know one who can get you out of Pandora's box. And he's the one that is there on the cross. The voice that you have just heard. He can get you out of Pandora's box. He can get you out of the confusion. He can get you out of death if you choose life. In fact, it's even written that death will be the last enemy that will be put under his feet. So he knows what direction to go. He does communicate with the Father, his Father. That is why it is so critical for every life on this planet to hear his voice. Because it is the voice of truth. It is the voice of wisdom. The Word has become flesh and dwells among us. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and dwells among men. So the truth that he brings us and the wisdom that he brings us is critical for each and every one of us to pay attention to. As we say in a common vernacular or a common way of saying things, if he tells you something, you can take it to the bank. Our American family, right now many of you are just waking up to even just a part of the truth, a part of the reality of truth. He is the only door. If you knock, he'll open to you. You can't come through the roof. You can't come through the back door. You can't come through a window. You've got to go through the door. And he's made access to you through that door, for you, through that door. To come in and to have dinner with him. To share with him. To be part of the family. To come into a place of protection. And what he has brought is called indexing. Indexing's been going on since the time of the first man, Adam, if you want to call him that. His first job was tending the garden and identifying everything. Well, now the last Adam is here. And he, too, is identifying everything. Go to our websites. Preferably the .com site right now has the latest information. That's the SOVCPR.com site. Find out about indexing. Call or email. The information is on the site. Do what you need to do to bring yourself into agreement with those of the righteous of this planet that are standing with him. The U.S. of A., the last to wake up, the last to pay attention. For the longest time, the U.S. of A. was considered first. And now it's even been written for a very long time. The first shall become last, and the last shall become first. With that, I yield back to you, sir.
One might say that she's reaching. You know, again, I say I don't envy you. I don't. I can't. I envy no man. I will never use any man's weakness for my gains, neither will I use his strength for my weaknesses. I can't, because I realize that we're all here for a purpose. There's a reason, purpose, for everything under the heavens, under the sun. I do know that. My father once told them that, but they didn't believe him. Even though many of them were referring to him as being honorable king, they were giving him all kinds of names. But when he told them there was nothing new under the heavens, nothing new under the sun, they came to a point of rejecting what he was saying. But we're still here judging the world as though we still know that at some point in time there will be a justice judge that will serve the world, that is, according to what has been written in all of the scriptures of the universe, all of the holy books, all of the holy poems, all of the holy rhymes. They all have, it said, that it will come one. But the people are not convinced that that one has come yet. They don't want that one to be, and they all have a description of the one in whom they deem it's going to be. All of them have their own conclusions, all drawn up. They've been placed nice and tight in a little small bag that they carry on their hip on their right side, saying that I am right and you're wrong. They saying that when he comes, he won't be one of that nature. He won't even be that color. He's not going to be that size. He's going to be so giant. He's going to be huge. He's going to be size of Mount Rushmore. He might be even larger than that. He might be as tall as Mount Fuji. He might be getting to a point where he will be not just tall, but he'll be just as wide as Kilimanjaro. I say, as I spoke to my kinfolk, I told him, you can't be big when middle's got you. I like that. It sounds good to the ears for me. You can't be big when little got you. I like that. My father, sometimes I hear his voice in a small, tiny whisper. It's so tiny that sometimes I refuse that if he's talking to me or if he's talking to the ants. And then there's times that he's talking to me in a voice that sounds like rolling thunder, where I myself realize that he's not talking to me, but he's talking to the 5 elements of the universe. Stay with me just a little while longer. This journey ain't over yet. And I'm not tired yet. I know. The lady asked me, she said, what if they come and they kill you? I told her, I'll die for a while, but death is not permanent. Come on, stay with me. She said, so that means that you're going to come back again? I said, that means that I'm going to be on another journey. If that's what you mean, come back again. I can tell you that each time I go on a journey, it seems to get rough and rougher each time. I've turned back to avoid storms. Yes, I have. There's been times when I had to hide myself beneath the mountains because the skies were falling. Stay with me just a little while longer. Don't leave me yet. I'm not done, Father. No, I'm still in this. I know it says that every now and then I have to cry sometimes. But my tears are not for the poor. It's not for those who are dying. But my tears is for the flowers, because it says my tears become rain. If the rain don't flow, the flowers, Father, they won't grow. So I have to cry sometimes. Stay with me. Don't leave me yet, Father. I'm still here. They don't understand. When the clouds roll back, and there will be nothing but darkness and black, I will be returning again. Day after day, I plundered dirt, doing nothing more than working. For I know that there's going to come night. But night is only a glimmer. That brings back another day. Weeping endure for a night, joy cometh in the morning light. Stay with me. Don't leave me now. We're on the last stretch of the journey. I know your legs have gotten tired. I know every now and then your heart skips a beat because it's done got weak. But don't give up now. stay with me for a while longer. God, man, we're there now. If anyone wants to sit down, rest your feet for a while. But we can't stay here long because we got to hurry up and get home. Follow me, I got you. Don't leave me now. God almighty. I told them every year this time, these things that happen, they won't let me rest. But rest, they said, for the weary, and I haven't gotten weary yet. They said sleep is for the tired, and I haven't gotten tired yet.
Yes, sir. I see you. Thank you, sir, for bringing us the truth. Thank you for remaining with us and protecting us and bringing us of the righteous to the place that we need to be. And thank you for removing the unrighteous from this planet. I don't envy you your job either. Yet and still we're all here for a purpose and for such a time as this. And we do join together with you, standing with you in strength, focused on the path ahead of us, focused on the job before us, because together we do get through this. And the other side is bright and beautiful and prepared for those who love him. Family, we're not going to keep you any longer. We thank all of you for being with us this evening. Darkness has fallen across this land. And now that gives each and every one of us an opportunity to go ahead and lay our head down. Build up your strength. When I'm saying build up your strength, I'm not just talking your physical strength. Your mental and spiritual strength as well. Build it up. Because it's going to require all of your faculties going forward. All of our talents and abilities being brought together in unity of purpose. One mind, one heart, and one spirit. We love you, family. And we always leave you with John 17:14-17. I, Yahushua, have given them your word, Father Yah, and the world has hated them, because they are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. Sanctify them by your truth, Father Yah. Your word is truth. With that, I yield to you, Sister Nadia.